this week I was actually lucky enough, I will say this, lucky enough to be able to get out to play a course called Bryan Park. The course is called Bryan Park in Greensboro, North Carolina. Now this course is actually two courses. There's a course called the Champions Course and there's a Players Course. Now the Champions Course and the Players Course, I have the scorecards for both, although I really have only played the Players Course. The courses are sort of wrapped around. The Champions Course is sort of, there's a lake north of Greensboro. It's just north of Greensboro. A big park there. It's like a recreational park, with soccer fields and everything in it. And also in this park, there's a golf course. And there is a neighborhood nearby. There's like, you know how it is with a group of houses and they throw some stone wall up at the front entrance and it's, like Apothecary Peak or some nonsense, Stonewallis Court, whatever. It's one of those things, and it's a fairly upscale neighborhood, but it's really not on the course. It's a wonderful thing. This is one of those few courses that I've played where it's just a golf course. And in this case, the soccer fields and everything are to the sort of south and east away from the lake, but the lake, on the border of the lake itself, is the Champions Course. I'd say probably half the holes on the Champions Course are along the lake, and then the other half come back away on the other side of the 9 holes that are bordering the lake. So there's a lot of lake on the Champions Course, and it's a slope 143 course. It's 72, I think it's 7250 from the back tees, and the Players Course is, I guess, away from the lake on the other side of the Champions Course, whereas the Champions Course is mostly like a out and back, and then it's really like 2 layers of holes. The Players Course is sort of like a figure 8, and it has some water on it, not a lot of water, but some water. It's a fairly decent course. It's 133 slope and 7,000 yards from the back tees. And I played that course. The tricky thing about it is it's just really hard to get on this course. And the reason it is hard is because of the coronavirus, because they don't want to push people to play with strangers. So the course I played last week and so forth, they had no problem with that. There's a threesome, we'll put you within, and no problem. But as a single on this course, I was not able to get a tee time through their website, and I was not able to walk on and just get put with a foursome. And what happened was, I was very lucky because I just decided, spur of the moment, I'm going to go try to play this course on a Sunday. And what happened was, I got there, I'd call this place like 3 or 4 times, not a lot of times, 3 or 4 times. And they're like, well, you have to understand, we can't really put you out with a group. If they decide they want to play with you, that's fine. As a single, they could always say no. Our rules are we are not going to put, singles in with other players. But if you come down and there is an opening, then fine. So I get there and it's a beautiful day. It's a gorgeous day, partly sunny clouds, beautiful weather, light wind. And it was, busy. Even on Sunday, and I figured Sunday afternoon, because North Carolina, you don't really have people playing on Sundays. They're a little bit more religious than a lot of places, and you don't see this push to play on Sunday. But there were a fair number of people out there on the driving range, on the putting green, fair number of players out there, and they only sell 2, 3, or 4 on the website. So I knew, that a lot of these guys had made reservations to play, and they were running behind, of course. So I was just settling down there to wait for like a long time to get on there. And then lo and behold, the starter comes out and says, okay, I'll tell you what, there's twosomes are supposed to come on a Champions Course, and there's only the chance that 2 of them won't show up. And if you get, if they will let you play, I'll let you go out with them. I was like, oh, cool. I get to play the Champions Course. I was really worried I wouldn't be able to get the Champions Course. Because I'm always sort of torn. When I play a course like this, it has 2 18s or 3 9s or something like that. I'm always torn about what of the course to play, because the easy holes are one thing and the hard holes are another thing. The long course is one thing, the shorter course is another thing. But the good thing about this course is that the player's course wasn't an easy course. It was a slope 133 course. That's not easy. It still has a fair amount of challenge to it. And I figured, well, even if it is a slope 142 course for this Champions course, it just isn't going to be all that hard, because it's not going to be, incredibly difficult just because it's a slope 142 course. The main thing about the course that makes it tough, I think, is that it has so much water because a lot of the holes border a lake. So, and from what we did see, because there were some holes on the players course that run alongside holes on the championship course, we could see that there was a lot of par threes over, a corner of the lake, or par fours that you tee off over a corner of the lake. But there also were a fair number of holes on the players course where you did the same thing. Quite a few shots over a pond or lake or something. Quite a few tee shots, downhill with the lake on the right. It wasn't an easy gimme course. Now, what it was, and I will say this, it was kind of flat compared to a lot of other courses where they have swales and ridges and bumps and stuff on the side of the fairway. This course didn't really have that. Even from the first tee, it was a fairly straightforward, woods course. Not too tight, not too loose, not too wide open, not too easy. It was a nice middle of the road course. I would say it was a modest challenge. It wasn't a great, tough course. It was a course where you could get out there and mess up a hole if you wanted, if you got crazy with your shots. But generally speaking, it wasn't going to cause too much trouble. There were only a few holes in the course that really were even troublesome. Let's put it that way. Mostly it was a drive, approach, chip, putt course. The putting greens were not really fast. They were really nice grass. They'd been aerated and still had aeration marks and stuff on them. But they had mostly smoothed over, mostly settled down, and they were in good condition for most of them. They were very nice to putt. I won't say really fast, but they were certainly smooth enough to putt. And they had a modest amount of break on them, not a lot of break, but some break, and they weren't gimme holes where you could just nail 20 footers without a problem. And it was a decent challenge. There's no question about the fact that course was a decent challenge. But one of the really great things about it is that there were no houses on the course. There were no airplanes flying around the course. There were no trucks. There's a train track that passes by. Did kind of hear a train. There's the roads that go by the course, and I did hear one guy doing burnouts and stuff on the road, and you could hear some traffic. It wasn't like it was totally peaceful and quiet, but it mainly was just golf, and it was really nice. It was a good change of pace, and only this one obnoxious, retarded couple, like 2 or 3 couples of Russians, like Russian speakers, certainly the girl and the guy. It was 2 or 3 women and a couple of guys and their kids and so forth that came down the access path between 2 holes, going down to the lake. Decided they were just going to stroll onto the course and go down to the lake. And it's just to remind, it never fails that there's some obnoxious asshole that walks onto a course just like it's a park in these upscale areas. It is so bad that it's ridiculous. You can almost guarantee it's going to happen. The soccer fields were closed. Some idiot walked out there, decided he was going to walk around with his dog without a leash. All the parking lots were blocked off. Some asshole decided he was going to drive out there. Just drive onto the park, fuck it. People decided they were going to move the cones aside and just go play soccer in the soccer fields, even though all of the public parks, except golf courses, are closed due to coronavirus lockdown. Not for them. They're going to go out there and just do what the fuck they want. It never fails to stun me how the wealthy elite perceive themselves as above the law. when it comes to trespassing on parks, when it comes to trespassing on golf courses, whatever they feel like they want to do, hey, fuck it, they're going to do it. I'm not saying they all do this, but there's always at least one or two that do this. Always. That just say, I don't care, I'm doing it anyway. And it just goes to show, and I say this as a statement about humanity, there are always people who are going to break the law and say that they have every right to do it, fuck it, fuck the law, whatever. They're going to do whatever the fuck they want. There are always people who say that no matter where you are, no matter if it's the ghetto or an upscale of Williamsburg or Park Slope or whatever, there's always going to be somebody who does that. Always. Just accept it. So sure enough, we're down there on the 13th hole. We're teeing up, and this woman comes strolling by with her husband and another couple and babies, and this kid bouncing a fucking ball while we're trying to tee off in the tee box. And she comes by and speaking in Russian, and it's almost like she got louder when she came by us, And there's a guy, 2 or 3 guys teeing off on the tee box. You can see him right there. Does that stop her from talking? Fuck no. No, she keeps talking. And just waving her arms. And, I'm looking over her, and she looks over at us and just glances and keeps talking. I'm like, I almost wanted to go over and tell her, would you mind, at least if you're going to trespass on the course, at least not talk while we're trying to tee off. But I just get the feeling that it's lost. With certain people, it's a lost cause to try to have any kind of reasonable discussion with them about what they're doing that's wrong, because they don't fucking care. They just don't care. To them, oh, it's a park. I can go anywhere I want to. You're guaranteed to get some kind of stupid argument back from them that's just completely wrong, but because they want to believe it's true, that's what they're going to believe. So don't ever think that just because you're on a golf course that is, private property, patrons only, whatever, that you will not see some asshole walking his dog, with his stroller and his wife, whatever, on the golf course, because it is peaceful, because it is quiet, because there's not a lot of people on the course. It's a magnet for people like that. Okay? An absolute magnet. And this course was no different. And there were a lot of golf holes back there on this course. There's 36 holes of golf. It's right on the lake. It's a beautiful lake, beautiful area, really nice, really peaceful, really quiet. So of course, at least one person that lives in a house near the area is going to just stroll their ass onto the course. Of course they are, because it's a nice place to go. So they're going to do it. Who cares if they should be paying or not even being there, because it's for people who are playing golf, not for someone who decides to turn a golf course into a public park, or at least their public park, and walk on it. So anyway, except for that one incident, it was great. Okay, it was wonderful. Okay, no houses, nobody mowing their lawn, nobody cutting leaves, nobody playing music on the back deck while we're trying to play golf. Nobody talking. Nobody, racing their cars, through the neighborhood. Nobody, with the dogs, whatever. None of that, except for that one moment. It was awesome. The players' course, I wouldn't say it was the most interesting of courses. I wouldn't say it was the greatest golf, but it was actually a decent challenge. A good long course. You can get out there, and certainly a challenge from the back tees. Not too long, but long enough that you were going to get, a good chance to air the ball out, yet at the same time, you couldn't just spray balls, left and right and still play those shots. There were woods, there were enough woods and dense enough woods and so forth that you easily could lose a ball if you went too far off the fairway. So I think it was a good solid course. I definitely would recommend this course. These two courses, I would recommend them for anyone looking for a good course to play. It was $44. I got the twilight rate with a cart, $44 with a cart after, I guess, 2 o'clock. And it just was a good deal. It was a really good deal, and I can completely understand why there were a fair number of people playing it. But I do have to say, we started at, well, first of all, I was playing with 3 other guys, and they were playing for money, which unfortunately means they were literally putting out all the putts, unfortunately. But basically, we started at about 2:30, and we didn't get off the course until 8. It was a long 18 holes. And I mean, by about the 15th hole, I was starting to get pretty, fried. I was about done. And while it was fun, I think it dragged on a little bit longer than I would like to have seen. Unfortunately, these guys were, just being a little bit too serious on the greens. And I normally would never be, I putt up, and if I'm inside of 2 or 3 feet, I'll bash the ball towards the hole, and if it goes in, great. If it doesn't go in, that's fine. I'm going to pick it up anyway. When I play, I don't ever take more than a minute or so to putt out. And so it was me, and then the 3 other guys I was playing with, who were nice guys. They were very nice guys, but they were definitely, playing a little slow. No question about it. So it was a little slow, a little tiring, a little long, and obviously the clubhouse is closed. There was no cart running around. I brought a soda with me on the course that I'd gone through by the 10th or 11th hole. I was getting dehydrated. I was getting hungry and tired and cold, and it was starting to, get overcast, and it started to get thunderstorms, and I was worried about lightning and everything, and it just got to be a little bit much. But I think you really want to get on the course like this a little earlier, so you don't have to play when it gets, we got off the 18th hole, and it was dusk. It was getting dark. It was solidly, I had trouble seeing the scorecard on the 16th hole, much less the 18th hole. It was definitely getting dark, and I haven't played in those conditions in a while, and I really wasn't comfortable with it. So I would have liked to have started an hour earlier, at maybe 2, and gotten done at 7 or so at the most. That's 5 hours, and I haven't played 5-hour 18 in a long time. Usually I go out and play by myself, and I'll get done in 3 hours. Sometimes I've played 18 holes in 2 hours, but I'll definitely get done in 3 hours. I can play every hole in 18 holes by myself and get done in 3 hours. And these guys were taking, I was like, So get another guy, if you can, to go out with you, or someone to go out with you and get your tee time and play it at a decent time. The course is definitely worth the time and trouble. That's Bryant Park Golf Course in Greensboro, North Carolina. Absolutely a very nice course. Liked it. It's north of Greensboro by about 10 miles, north of this downtown Greensboro. And it was a really nice course, really nice time. I would give this course, considering the conditions, the general surrounding conditions, I will give it a B+. It was definitely not a B+ course, but considering that there were no houses on the course, that overall was worth a B+. Definitely a good outing.